Farm Together is a casual farming game. Its gameplay is simple, the graphics are cute. At first glance it looks more like a game designed for children. I expected to play it for a few days and get bored, yet here I stand, 2.5 months later, still playing. My wife is equally bewitched by it. Why did this happen? The short answer would be that it's an addictive game, but there's more to it. Before I look deeper into its gameplay and tell you why it's so addictive, let's first get the technical aspects of the review out of the way. The game's graphics remind me of another recent title called Astroneer. It's cute, colorful, and not very demanding when it comes to your hardware. It features both 21:9 and 32:9 natively, and both run very well, so ultra-wide is not a problem here. We haven't experienced any crashes, but with each new content update, there are bugs, making some of the new things impossible to use properly until the next patch, which usually fixes those issues, is released. I don't think I've ever seen a game where the developer releases tiny paid content updates and there is almost always something broken with them. Let me give you an example. A content patch is released. It features a new house type the player can build and customize, a few new outfits for your avatar, and a few new plants. Let's say that all the things are 20 in total. Everything in the patch, 20 items. So not that many. Then you realize that the new house is totally bugged and you fall through the floor when you enter it. Every time. You would think that something like that would have been noticed easily due to the fact that all you need to do in order to test it would be to build the house and try to enter it. It almost feels like they know that the issue is there, but they decide to ignore it and choose to fix it post-release. It would also make sense considering that those are almost always paid DLCs. So in a way, they want to charge you as soon as they can, even though it's known that the content doesn't seem to work right yet. I'm quite annoyed with that. On the other end, the game features numerous events which allow the player to earn customizations as well as occasional useful items, such as a pot of gold which will generate a bit of gold and money. And just so you don't get confused from this example, gold is a random chance drop which can be acquired from any harvesting action in the game. You can then exchange these gold nuggets for any other resource in the game at a special store. So back to the events. They are pretty nice and give you something to do. They're also available to everyone, even if you have not purchased any DLCs. The game has no real story, it's purely gameplay driven. You start on a small parcel of land and get to plant things and harvest them for more money. Once you have harvested enough, you can sell your products and acquire gems, which are another currency in the game and can be used to expand your land by buying another parcel as well as for other things. In the beginning, the game seems quite simple. You plow the land, plant something, then water it. Your farm is quite tiny and you are done with the work in no time. This is where I want to explain one of the game's key gameplay mechanics. Your progress is based on harvesting. You will notice that you have a character level and a farm level. When you harvest items, both of those levels increase at a different rate. But not only that increases them. Almost every action you perform grants experience. Once you plant an item, you have to actually wait for it to grow so that you can harvest it. The game teaches you early on that most things can be watered in order to shorten that growth timer. So time is an important factor. The things you plant also have their own levels. As you harvest them more and more, that level will increase and they will reward more money. The game hooks you even further with quests. Little tasks that involve planting specific things and harvesting them. You are rewarded with ribbons, which are the most valuable currency in the game, and what makes them so valuable is that they are very hard to get until very late in the game and needed for many really nice things that improve the quality of life that you will have while playing this game. Once you make your first few quests, you can unlock a gas pump and you can finally use your tractor. You've always had it as a matter of fact, but without fuel it does nothing. Before I explain the tractor, let me mention that the game's world is on a grid. You have squares on which you plant, water, harvest, and build. Before you can use your tractor, you are limited to 1 square per action. If you want to plant something, you plant it on 1 square at a time. The same goes for harvesting, watering, plowing, etc. This is very slow and tedious, so being able to use the tractor is a huge improvement because it works by interacting with 9 squares. So in other words, your tractor is 9 times faster when on foot. I did mention how your character has an individual level which can be increased. You are rewarded with customizations for increasing it, but what you don't notice is that your character's capacity for things such as fuel also increases. So a maxed out level 100 avatar can use a tractor for a much longer time before having to refuel than a new character, provided that you have filled your capacity on a gas station. The production of fuel by a gas station is not affected by your capacity, so a high level character will either have to build multiple large gas stations or just wait for one of them to constantly recharge before you can use it multiple times and fill your own meter with gas. As you progress through the game by increasing the size of your farm and leveling up, you will notice that the quests will become more demanding, both increasing the required amounts as well as by asking for quite expensive and slow growing products. The game generally has 5 types of products you can harvest: plants, trees, flowers, fish, and animals. Plants require you to plow the land before you can plant them. Once harvested, the land needs to be plowed again before you can plant something on it once more. When the growth timer of a plant passes, they remain available for harvesting until the player decides to do so, no matter how long it takes. Watering plants shortens their growth timer, meaning that they will become harvestable sooner. Trees are placed upon unplowed lands. They bear fruit on certain seasons and remain after being harvested, meaning that the player doesn't need to plant them more than once. The fruits on the tree are, however, only available for harvesting during the specified seasons. Once that season changes, the tree cannot be harvested until the next harvestable season comes up again. Flowers are similar to trees due to the fact that they are planted on non-plowed land and they regrow on their own once harvested. They grow on a timer just as plants that you can plant normally and can be harvested at any time once they blossom. They can be watered as well, but that does not affect their timer, but rather improves the quality of the end product, meaning that the watered flowers will yield more money. Fish is placed on non-plowed land and has a timer after which you can harvest them. After that, the timer resets again and you can harvest them yet again once it passes. What is unique here is that the fish have a catching chance. So every time your avatar goes fishing and it tries to catch a certain fish whose timer has already ended, he will effectively roll a dice. This means that a fish with 50% chance will only be caught every second attempt, meaning that sometimes you will wait for the timer and try without success. The game still gives you experience and money regardless though. Animals were quite surprising to me. The game is designed to be child friendly, so no animals are harmed. The devs figured out interesting ways to go around slaughtering animals. Pigs, for example, find truffles once their timer is done. Sheep give wool, chickens give eggs, etc. No animal is harmed in the process, meaning that they can continue to produce infinitely. You place animals on land that is not plowed. You don't have to make any enclosure, but you can use decorative items to do so if you feel so inclined. Animals require you to feed them in order for them to have their timer advance. They have a certain capacity for food which you can drop in front of them. That food will be consumed within some time, and at some point it will end and the timer will stop advancing unless you come and refill the food for the animals. This can be quite annoying in the cases in which the timer is short. Those animals will eat the food very quickly, meaning that you have to go and refill every few minutes. The game offers you feeders which can be bought for medals, which, as I have mentioned before, are the most valuable currency in the game. These feeders effectively increase the capacity of food which you can deposit, and thus make it so you have to visit and refeed animals less often. Another great solution are farmhands. Those are workers who can harvest, plow and feed animals. These guys don't have tractors, so they work one square at a time, but are still invaluable later on once your farm increases in size. They have a special grid and will work on whatever is covered by it, so placing them well will enable you to get the most out of them. You can also move them at will, meaning that you can transfer a farmhand to a new workplace if the other one is currently not busy. They are bought with medals and the player has to keep paying them for their work with another currency called ribbons. Before I explain how those are acquired, let me mention that you can build your avatar various houses and decorate them at will. Within those houses, the avatar can cook, play the piano, and paint. Those actions are all rewarded with ribbons, which are then used to pay your farmhands. Later on, you even unlock recipes which reward a medal as well as ribbons. So the more you do it, the better your character gets at it and the better the reward, but also the more expensive the production. For example, a recipe that you can cook which will give you more ribbons will cost more materials than one that will give less, obviously. I did mention how your farm's level also increases as you perform different actions. This unlocks new items as well as plant, fishes, flowers, etc. So leveling up is very useful. The game feels quite simple in its game mechanics and we ended up learning almost everything by simply trying it out. While leveling up unlocks many new things, some will remain hidden forever unless you level up your other similar items first. For example, if you want to unlock melons, you first have to level up your watermelons by planting many of them and harvesting them. Some of these plants have very long timers which can take many hours, even days to complete, so leveling those can be quite difficult. As we initially played the game, we came to realize that some plants and other things need a lot of time to be done, and we're quite annoyed by that. It feels like making the waiting time so long was unfair and something we often see in mobile games. Luckily here there are no pay to win options. There is no way to pay real money in order to shorten the timers. Had this been the case, I would have not even considered playing this game. While this seems annoying at first, I now understand the idea here. You see, as you expand your farm, you can combine items with longer timers and items that are with a much shorter timer. That way you have some long-term investments which pay off big after a longer period of time, and some short-term ones which will keep you afloat and allow you to continue to play the game. There are many things to do, so it's not a bad thing, trust me. The game has 4 seasons, a day and night cycle, and a weather system. The seasons are very important because they determine when you can harvest all of your trees as well as when you can plant all of your crops. Sunflowers, for example, can only be planted during the summer. This adds another layer of complexity to the game. Each season is about a quarter of an hour long, so it's neither too long nor too short. The weather is also an important factor to consider. When it's super hot, your plants will require more frequent watering, while rain, on the other hand, will automatically water them for you. Something that I wasn't sure if I was gonna like at first was the fact that the game features some plants that are effectively invented. For example, the money tree is a tree on which golden bars grow, and when you harvest it, you get straight out diamonds from it. So obviously there are no money trees, and there are several such things, especially with the new DLC, which involves some alien plants that you can plant. In the end, I gotta say, I find all of these to be quite nice, and I think it's kind of a cool thing. There was now an event in which you could plant fireworks, and when you harvest them, they would fly up in the air and explode. So it's kind of nice. I think that the game doesn't take itself very seriously, and that is a good thing. Farm Together offers a ton of cosmetic options. You can change your character's hair, outfit, backpack, makeup, and more. You can have different pets, you can have different looking tractors and even color them as you like. You can change the outfits of your farmhands. The game also features a ton of decorative items which can be placed all over your farm and your houses. What impressed me the most was the fact that all of these things have been done with a love for detail. Most decorative items can be interacted with. You build a small ship, your character can sit in it. You build an open shower, and as soon as you enter, the water starts flowing. That kind of thing. It just adds to the overall positive experience. One of the nicest things is that the game features multiplayer. My wife and I visit each other's farms and help one another. The game actually rewards you for doing this by giving you an experience boost. Once you return to your own farm, for the duration of that boost, your character gets twice the experience for every action and harvests twice the materials. It is so useful that we do help each other even when we are too lazy to do so, because of the nice reward that you get. As you level up your character, your capacity for the boost increases as well. At first it was only 15 minutes long, and now at max level my character can accumulate 30 minutes worth of boost. So that is pretty cool. I did mention that the gameplay is quite interesting and addictive by design. I was worried initially that it would feel way too much like a mobile game, but that is almost never the case. It's also amazing to look at your massive farm after a few weeks of gameplay. This game's strength is that it's very relaxing to play. Its visuals, the music, everything works. I just wish there were more audio tracks available. They're all really nice, but considering how many hours a player will spend in the game on average, there should be a lot more. At this point I play without any background music because I have heard it way too many times. As stated, the game is designed to be very child friendly. While I have no children, if I did, I could see myself playing it with them. The only thing to consider is the fact that it can be addictive, but luckily even that does not last forever. I was hooked for the first week or so. After that, I've mostly invested in flowers which take a week to blossom and quests. This means that I log in daily for about an hour, do some stuff and then log out again. The game still relaxes me, but I'm no longer playing as much as I did initially. That is why I don't worry about the addictive nature at play here. It's designed to hook you, but then it releases the grip significantly. The game costs €20 on Steam, and a bundle with all the DLC can be bought for another €18, making this a great price if you consider how many hours of relaxing gameplay you can enjoy. So, if you find yourself wondering about what to play and are not looking for something too serious or competitive, then this might be the right game for you. You cannot die, you cannot lose, you cannot really win either. You plant, harvest, decorate and grow your farm, and then look at it with pride and show off to your visitors. It's not a thing for every kind of player, but I think most people will still enjoy it. I know my wife and I did, and we kind of still are. This is where I want to thank you for watching my video. I hope it managed to entertain you. If you wish to support my channel, please take a look at my Patreon link in the description. It would make me very happy if you returned for more. Until then, have a great day.